Wow. Hello, boxing fans around the world. Welcome to Talk and Fight. And joining us today, we have Kristian von Sponnet from boxing247.com. And we're doing our debut episode of the Boxing 247 show. And today we're going to be talking about an upcoming fight that everyone's been looking forward to for a long time. And it's finally coming just around the corner, the good old Joshua versus Usyk fight. So do you want to start us off, Kristian? How do you feel?
Absolutely. Looking forward to this fight on Saturday. And one of the key things for the love and the reason why I'm looking forward to this fight so much is there is no clear-cut favourite, as in who's going to be the winner. There's no outright winner. There's lots of fors and against, pros and cons, etc. Really, really looking forward to this one. Really excited for it. What do you think of it? What's your view so far?
I'll be blunt. My money's on Joshua. I think he's got the longer reach. I'm not going to say he's a stronger, more powerful boxer, but he's got a long. Now, having said that, if Usyk gets him in the inside, it's going to be tight. But I think my money's on Joshua. I'll be blunt.
Yes, I have to agree with you only for the fact that he has the advantages, or majority of the advantages anyway. Yeah. And this should be a case of, because obviously both have got Olympic pedigree, this should be the bigger great fighter against the smaller great fighter, and a bigger guy is certainly going to win this. But it isn't, as far as I'm concerned, usually as simple as that. And there's so many ins and outs. And the problem is we still haven't gauged how good Usyk is at heavyweight from the two fights he's had as a heavyweight. I mean, the fight which has Witherspoon, we didn't really see anything from the 6 or 7 rounds, however long the bout was. And with Chisora, it was a mediocre, it was a good effort from him, but we still can't gauge from that how he's exactly going to find Usyk. And that is what, for myself, is going to be the very interesting part. Because, you know, you cannot compare Chisora against AJ with how the approach is going to be with Usyk. One of the key reasons is because, you know, the style in which Chisora was coming in, how do I want to put it, in layman's terms, he was bum rushing Usyk. He was taking 2 or 3, 4 or more shots, and you know, to risk it, you know, he would take them to get his clubbing blows in, which he was doing with some success. But that is not going to be the approach which I don't think AJ is going to take, because of, from what we can tell, he's a bit suspect around the whiskers. I think he's going to be cautious in this fight. And I think that what we're going to get here, this is just purely my opinion and how I see it developing, is I think you'll find that it's going to be a very cautious fight. You're going to see a lighter. We know that actually, so it's a bit of an obvious statement. We're going to see more of a boxer in AJ, more the kind of fighter that was in with Andy Ruiz in the second fight. Not is going to be that negative, but it's going to be that kind of AJ instead of one that's going to be gun-ho and get caught as he did in the first Ruiz fight. I certainly see a knockdown early. I think round 3, you'll see Usyk will land up on his backside. With how good Usyk is, there's going to be an A, B, C plan, whatever. He's going to revert then over to plan B, and he's going to be more cautious. And he's going to be, unfortunately, it's going to become a bit of I think, a chess match from there. And that is where I completely agree with you, where the longer arms is going to be, the reach is going to be such a key advantage for AJ in this fight. And I think that's what is going to bring the victory. And I think it's going to be over the 12 rounds.
You think it's going the distance?
Yes, I do. I think that Usyk will be caught early. I think he's going to go into the plan B, and it's going to be more of a negative plan B, and he's going to be more cagey. Because he's cagey, that's why I think it's going to go the distance, because he's not going to leave himself open to that kind of onslaught. If he was there trying to meet fire with fire, yes, absolutely, AJ KO all the way. But I just think that once he's tasted the power, once he's realised that meeting head on, if that was an approach at any point in the fight, is not going to work. I think it's just going to go to a chess match, and he's going to become second best from it.
Well, the heavy betting money's on him getting taken out of that fight early, Usyk, that is.
Early.
And yeah, early. If I'm not mistaken, not that I check these often, but the odds were 60-1 in favor of Joshua.
Whoa.
If in fact,
I'll be down the book then on Saturday morning, I think.
Yeah. So, but if he went the distance and still won, it's 20-1 odds. So nonetheless, the bettors are supporting me.
But the
And
good thing is, it's a good heavyweight fight. It takes one punch, very typical, I know. But this is, I put it a 60-40 fight. It's a fight where there's so many questions. And it's one where it's all going to be down to the approach each fighter takes. You know, are they going to lock horns and meet in the center of the ring? I doubt it, but could happen at some point. If either one of them gets hurt, the other person's going to unload.
yeah.
There's so many imponderables with this and so many different outcomes. I think the approach is what's going to dictate the outcome, and that unfortunately we can't tell until fight night. So if anybody says this is definitely going to happen or that or this, absolutely not, because the other camp doesn't know what the other person's plan is. And it's just, that is the key. You know, you're not gauging like a Wilder fight, for example, you know, how he's going to come out fighting. There's so much into this one, and this is why I am super excited.
Well, what are some of the intangibles too, like the crowd? I mean, that's a decent sized stadium, and
Yeah,
you know, when you
Usyk's well travelled though. He's well travelled. I mean, you can argue that AJ is a home fighter as such, because obviously his worst performances obviously was in the US, and he's now at Tottenham Hotspur Club, that's home territory in the UK. Yes, that's going to spur him on, but I think Usyk, it won't phase him. It certainly didn't phase him, you know, prior when he fought over here against Bellew. So I don't think that'll phase him. I wish I was there, but on the TV it will be. We'll be covering the fight as well. I think we're going to be doing
what
live.
about the other intangible, the psychological desire? I mean, they're both on their way up in terms of their
Yeah,
career, so neither one of them really has that advantage in terms of
good
having,
point.
you know, a greater desire to win. They both are pretty well on equal footing in that regard, if you ask me. So I think we'll see a great start, and it'll be, if it goes anyway, it'll be a lucky punch. I think they're great defenders in that
Yes.
regard. But
And I
if
think that can happen both ways as well, because
yeah,
obviously with Joshua being a little bit suspect, and obviously with Usyk being a smaller person. But the thing is, psychologically, I just think as well that if we could break that down, I personally think that this could be one of the intangibles, with the fact that has AJ took Usyk lightly. Is there going to be a problem with that? He says he hasn't, but you know, when you're going to have people around him saying, "Oh, this is just going to be a formality. He's the smaller guy. Look at the Chisora fight. Look at the Witherspoon fight. The only two heavyweight bouts he's had prior. Didn't look, you know, like he was, you know, an A+ fighter in either of those two fights." He may take him lightly. Is that going to be the case? But indications of that, with how he's training and the reports of him coming in light, tends to show that he is taking it the right way, and he is looking to box Usyk. But are the reports right? Is everything you know, as it's reported? We'll only find out the weights on Friday, and everything else on the night. Can't wait.
it's gonna be fantastic, and there's some decent fights happen on that same card. Quite frankly, I don't know if you want to
Yeah.
touch on a couple of those, but
Also, the other thing is that I really do, being based in the UK, I do want AJ to win this, because obviously the all English fight that can happen, obviously if Fury gets through Wilder on October the 9th, it won't be the same if, for example, either Wilder or Fury win, but AJ doesn't. Usyk against one of the other two, it hasn't got that same ring to it as the all British, you know, clash with AJ and Fury. The setup, what it can lead to, you know, having just said that and having just reminded myself that makes me think again that I don't think actually, with what I said earlier, I don't think AJ is going to be taking this fight lightly. I think there's too much on the line here. You know, it's the fight, it's the defense, it's restoring his reputation, because, you know, only since the Ruiz reverse, there's only been, I'll help me out here, the chap he fought, Bulgarian. Who did he fight last? It's gone out of my head. Kubrat Pulev. You know, that was a mediocre performance. He needs a top performance to reinstall everything, because the doubts are still on AJ. And you've got legacy here as well, because that Fury fight looming. He cannot, I'm sure he's professional enough to take this fight seriously.
right.
I can't see him overlooking him. With that, I'm just trying to think of anything else that's, you know, where we don't know what's going to happen with it. We don't know still, I think, if Usyk can really take a punch. There is a question mark with that. Yes, he took some Chisora clubbing blows, but they were, cuffing, clubbing. That is not a straight punch. That is not a powerful punch. That is not one from Anthony Joshua. The two are not comparable. How is he going to react when he gets hit? And that's why I think, again, going full circle back to what I said earlier, when he does get hit and he's hurt, whether he goes down or not, I think that you're going to see a very cagey Usyk.
Yeah.
And that's why I really do think I can see this going a distance. I really can. But as they say, anything can happen. Anything can happen in a heavyweight bout.
Especially if you leave it in the hands of the judges.
Yes, that is in light of a lot of how can we put it, dodgy UK decisions recently. Without going into those a great deal, there's been 2 or 3 very recently where it's just been questionable. Actually, a good point. It's if it goes the distance, is the correct person going to get the nod? I can only guess. I don't know who the judges are for the fight, but I can only guess that the Usyk camp would have brought this and highlighted this up, obviously, with everybody, and hopefully you're not going to get, for example, 3 UK judges and more suspect ones from the top 10 of questionable judges that give very questionable decisions. You'd hope that it will be, sort of neutral as such. But yeah, that's a good one. Didn't think about that. Good point.
Thank you. Well, have we covered all the major points? I mean, this has been a great discussion. Happy to
just
talk.
While we're here, very quickly, because obviously I don't want to overlook Saturday.
Yeah.
Fury versus Wilder. Very briefly, what is your opinion? Now we're it's next month now.
Okay.
And it's on my birthday as well, October the 9th. What a birthday present.
Fantastic.
If it goes ahead and Fury doesn't pull out.
This one is more of a personal swing. I was really looking forward to the Fury Joshua fight. Okay. Then, of course, as we all know, Wilder wanted that trilogy, so he got in. Okay. But as we're leading up to the Fury-Wilder battle, quite frankly, I really don't like the cockiness of Fury going in. I mean, he's a little over the top, and I like the kind of laid-back style that Wilder's presenting. So he kind of resembles an underdog in a classic fight, and you have to be wary of the underdog. And
especially one that can kick like a mule as well.
Yeah, and Fury going into this full of piss and vinegar, and he can muster all the bravado he wants on paper, if you will. But Wilder's keeping it simple, and he's a powerful man, and he's got that vicious right. And if you ask me, I mean, this one's closer in my books than the Joshua. Yes. I mean, I can't put my finger on this one just yet, but I'm going on a personal. I like the way Wilder's handling himself pre-fight. As we get closer to the fight, I want to see how things shape up before I make an actual call. But I'm really looking forward to that. Believe me, on your birthday, I'm really looking forward to that fight as well. That's going to be a great present for you personally.
Early prediction, Wilder for me for that one. Fury to overlook Wilder to come in not so complacent and to put on a better performance. And I think Wilder all the way. I think it's a 50-50 fight, but
right,
heart and head, absolutely, Wilder all the way for me. But we'll leave that one there. Looking forward to Saturday. Absolutely. So I'm sticking with you on the Joshua victory, and I think points. I'm guessing you think a stoppage.
Yes. I just don't think Usyk has the power to go the distance. I do think Joshua does, and I think he's going to knock out Usyk before the 6th round. Whoa. As in knockout.
Interesting. Is there one way to find out? We're going to watch Saturday night.
That's right. We will find out.
It will be absolutely, but interesting. No, points for me, but well, that's a good one.
Well, there you go.
So, with that in mind, we'll be here tomorrow, same time. Don't forget, obviously, to subscribe first off to us, Boxen 247 TV. That is the German way of spelling it, BOXEN. And obviously, Talkin fight, as usual.
2 thumbs up. Well done. Thanks for this great debut episode. I really appreciated it. Good talk, good discussion. I'm looking forward to the fight on Saturday, as you are. And then, of course, the follow-up on October 9th, your birthday, when Fury goes against Wilder. They're both going to be great fights, and they're both great cards. So a great few weeks of great boxing coming up. Looking forward to it.
Yep, absolutely.
Thanks very much,
So,
Kristian.
see you tomorrow. I'll catch you then, Graham. Take care.
Cheers.
Cheers.